Shafaat Ya Rasul Kareem, Ameen. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir raheem. Ati Allah, Ati Ya Rasul ulil amri minkum. And always a reminder for myself, ana abdukal ajis da'if miskeen zalim jahal, but for the grace of Allah that we're still in existence, alhamdulillah. InshaAllah, what we have from our online family with all the posts and all the wonderful sharing and khidmat and service. Also a reminder for those whom are making AI images, everything has to be according to the way of Sayyidina Muhammad, that never anything of a nakedness and skin exposed and inappropriate images. That's not the way to deliver a message regarding Prophet. So always use consciousness and be aware of what you're publishing and producing of images, that they abide by Prophet and that he would be happy with the images being put out, inshaAllah. So we have to make a reminder always, because maybe people get a little bit too excited, too graphic, and they're not appropriate Islamic images, inshaAllah. Other than that, thank you very much for your service. What do we got from online families, inshaAllah?
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
It seems like we make one step forward and two steps backward in this Jihadil Akbar. How can we become consistent in this struggle?
InshaAllah. Be consistent, that trying to be consistent and moving forward, it requires a nightly accounting of ourselves. Means this system it has an entire science to it, that the people of tafakkur and contemplation, that they try their best at night to make an accounting. If we feel that things are just passing us, then especially put a post-it note that, no, every night I have to make an accounting for myself, and then recognize the things that I've done wrong and that I'm at fault at all things. I don't give an excuse from my ego that, no, I wasn't, they did this, oh it like this. How I reacted to it, I'm only… As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments, and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In control of myself and no one else. Whatever shaitan is trying to throw at me, like the handball, you stand against the wall and the opponent throws the ball at your head, your responsibility was to move. So same, if you just stand there and the ball keep hitting you in the head, either you're not well because you don't understand what's happening, or somebody trains you, move, means the shaitan is attacking you. So follow the system, the shaitan is attacking. As a result, every night I make an accounting. As you get better at it, then immediately when something's wrong you ask Allah's forgiveness. But if you're not making quickly that forgiveness, quickly understanding that, what did I do wrong, why am I not listening, why am I not following their system, why am I not doing it? As long as you don't follow the system, things will become worse and worse. When you don't follow the shaykh's advice, like a tidal wave that's coming, because the shaykh's advice is like somebody standing on the shore of a tsunami that you do such and such, meditate like this, do these things. When you don't do them, it's as if you're standing there and waiting and challenging the wave of difficulty to knock you out. And unfortunately it knocks you and takes you back out into the ocean and you be gone. So the more you deny the guidance, the more you don't listen to the guidance, it's not a problem, you don't take down the shaykh. So the nafs is telling you, oh you don't have to listen to him. It's not about him because he has his station, and irregardless of who listens, he has his relationship with Prophet and he's accountable for how he's accountable. The only one whom is in difficulty and in demise is that person. When they don't listen to the guidance, they don't listen to the way, they don't listen to the teachings, then something is coming and that becomes the difficulties in life. For the people whom are continuously feeling they're going backwards and only making one step forward and 2-3 steps back, that was the accounting. Every night they make an accounting, oh I got angry again, then you owe hasanat because that's a big sayyat, that's a big sin. So it's okay, I made these 10 sins, well make 100 good, give a donation. That washes away, give out food before the night is ended. Do something before that night's accounting is locked on you, and that's the file that your angels will send up to Allah. So every night, and we've discussed this many times, every night make sure your hisab is positive. That you do wrong, everyone does wrong, no problem, you didn't bring it into your heart, then you still have a chance to be saved. If negativity entered the heart is a big danger. That's when they have rancor and hatred and jealousy, then the heart becomes something wishing to enact evil upon people, harm upon people. But this is not that issue, this is the issue of being vigilant of the heart, conscious my actions are not what I wanted them to be that day. You owe sadaqah, you owe something good. Sadaqah can be through your funds, or before the end of the day go out and give some food, buy something extra for people, give it out to the homeless people. Do something of a hasanat, pray extra prayers at home, do some extra zikrs, anything that will bring your hisab to be up. And then every night your account is good. So then what happens in the morning? You wake up with a positive balance in your account. But if every day somebody's taking $10 out, $10 out, $10 out, $10 and you didn't deposit anything, then what happens? You look in, you're bankrupt. And a bankrupt person is one whom allows badness to take everything from their deeds and they deposit nothing of goodness in its place. So this is a whole way. So this is this is the way of muhasabah. If we're asking this type of question, we didn't read the book and we don't do meditation. So this could be somebody new turning on, no problem, you're turning on new, get the meditation book or go to the articles on the website on tafakkur and contemplation. This is the whole system and the basis of this pyramid. If it's somebody who already follows the system, then you're not following the system. And this is a way to identify that, my goodness how you don't know that this way is based on accounting and meditating. The one who meditates, his meditation worth nothing if not accounting. And the accounting saves us from running empty every day until you become bankrupt, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, if all creation is like a cell within the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad, then the day of judgment and great intercession is also within the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad.
Isn't it? So you look up Shafaat Kubra, the grand intercession, that even the people whom have not well in their head that don't accept anything, they have to accept the grand intercession. Because this then they didn't argue about this hadith. that the people come to Sayyidina Adam, the big 6 prophets of Allah, intercede for us. And as how Allah wrote the destiny of imperfection, because the only one whom is perfected is Sayyidina Muhammad. The nations will come to Sayyidina Adam and say, intercede for us, Yawmul Mashar, Yawmul Qiyamah has started and we are in fear. And Sayyidina Adam says, I cannot because I ate from the tree and I have sinned. And the story goes on to Sayyidina Nuh, from Sayyidina Nuh to Sayyidina Ibrahim, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Isa, all of them have sinned. As a result of their sin they say, I cannot. Sayyidina Isa will say, I cannot, they took me as Allah, as a God, there's no way I'm going to intercede. We must go to the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad. And then the hadith goes that Prophet will recite sounds and frequencies and du'as that have never been heard, because this is the reality of the Divinely binary code that exists between Ahmad and Ahad. And from that secret, and this is the secret of what we call the veil, the shafa'. Why Prophet described as the gift that Prophet was given was the shafaat al-Nabi. People think it's an interceding, like, I will intercede for you, but it's actually he's the owner of the veil between creation and creator. That's what intercession means, that when the creator is going to judge this creation, the one whom owns this veil that separates creator from creation, this is the greatness of intercession. Because the fire that's coming towards creation for their wrong, the grand intercession is the one through hamd and praise, قُلْ يَا النَّهْرُ كُنِ بَارْدًا وَسَلَامًا, means it will be a coolness from Allah's fire and ghadab and anger because of the recitations of Sayyidina Muhammad asking. As a result it comes towards the people as a coolness, as a breeze. So this is the immensity of the station of the reality of Prophet. This is because that's the physical abode. The physical abode has its event, and the physical master of this abode, Sayyidina Muhammad must clean them. Through the recitations, through the light of Prophet must be cleaned. Because why? Because it's all Nur Muhammad and it must go back to his light. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'oon. It doesn't come from Allah and go back to Allah, that's a shareek. But from this lillah it came, and to the ilah it goes back. So nothing came from Allah to go back to Allah, otherwise you would be, what is this, the wahdatul wujud, that you came from Allah and you're going back to Allah, so you became now partners with Allah. No. So it means that we came from the light of Prophet and we're all going back, Rabbil mu'mineen wa Rabbil kafireen, Rabbil alameen. There's nothing under these lights, there's nothing that isn't owned by Prophet. As a result it must be cleaned. So no doubt Prophet will clean anything of his lights, just as when our body has bacteria. What happens in your body when you become sick? You have an enemy inside of you, a sick virus that enters within you, a sick parasite or sickened cell. Inside your own physiology and your body you have an entire defense mechanism that immediately launches an attack on any type of foreign invasion within your being. Your own body fights off its sicknesses and difficulties. So if our own body is an example of that reality, of course then the ones whom don't believe the sins and the badness that they do, they must be cleaned. Because all souls go back to the origin of Muhammadun Rasulullah. One of the names of Prophet Abu Arwah, the father of souls. So everything has to go back to the Muhammadan reality and Muhammadan haqqaiq. Now only on this earth and other creations they have deviated, the physicality has deviated, but the soul is from the truth. The soul and its reality can be hidden, but the soul is always from the truth. If you see the worst human being, but the soul is pure. What they did with their nafs and shaitan could be the worst, but the soul is pure. That's why Allah gives them a chance, and that's the hadith of the zikr. If you see the circles of zikr, then all the blessings and the secret of that hadith. And the angel asked at the end, Ya Rabbi, but there's one whom sitting in that circle not from them. Not from them, then think the worst one, because it couldn't be the best one not from them. Think that somebody from Pharaoh's deepest magic, deepest evil sat in the circle of zikr, and Allah is giving to the angels, if that one sat in there then dress them from that reality. Because the soul is pure, the body can be washed in an instant. For Allah there's nothing to wash the sins off the tablet and off the physicality, and immediately make the person a pure worshipper. So Shaykh, where's the proof of that? When Sayyidina Musa was in a battle with the magicians of Pharaoh. Now you're talking about the most evil magic that known to mankind is pharaonic magic. Today there are traces of pharaonic magic that they say, oh very evil. Imagine the time of actual Pharaoh, what these people were capable, how much their magic was, how much their knowledges were. So with all their craziness, what happened? They came to now challenge one of the great Prophets of Allah, and that's when we teach. This tariqah it's based on manners. You can be the most evil dog in existence, but if you have good manners Allah will open everything for you, inshaAllah. If you're the most learned, most memorized, most thing, Allah doesn't open anything for you. This is not there's not a single thing that says that you can be evil but you memorize this, you memorize that you're going to be given everything. But Allah give an example for Sayyidina Musa, the most evil magicians gathered to fight their Prophet of Allah, and they simply in the beginning of the battle asked, would you like to throw or we throw? You start the magic or we start our magics? And awliya come and say, as a result of asking with ihtiram to the Prophet of Allah, immediately Allah opened their hearts. Because the next verse describes they threw their magic, and then Sayyidina Musa threw his staff which is Azatullah, and they saw it. How many times people don't see any signs from Allah? Nowadays nobody sees any signs from Allah, but you're talking about the worst magicians, most evilest people you can imagine. Allah opened within a second, boom, their heart, they saw. They said, this is not from our knowledges. How they had this level of yaqeen and certainty that they saw the izzah and might of Sayyidina Musa's representation of Allah, and they believed. And instantly their heart believed, not from them, they were dirty people, but because they had ihtiram and respect, Allah opened everything. And as a result they believed, and we described every year when we talk about it, beyond belief. Nobody can do that today. The Pharaoh got so angry, he said, who gave you permission to believe? He was so astonished. He said, we don't care for you, we're following Sayyidina Musa, and he represents the Creator. He said, I'm going to rip you from piece to piece. And they said, rip us however you want, we are submitting to Allah. Nobody does that today. Somebody come and tell, I'm going to pull your nails and toes off, you say, okay, I believe what you want me to believe. Nobody's going to keep their belief. So these magicians endured the tortures of Pharaoh and didn't change their belief in Allah with complete yaqeen. What they saw in their soul, that they felt nothing of Him deflailing them. He pulled their skin off their body out of His anger. He had a system of pulling skin off of the body of the servant. What they saw and felt in the presence of Allah that they didn't feel anything from their physicality, and they didn't denounce their belief, and they were in complete certainty of Allah. From what? Just saying, Ya Musa, you throw or we throw. And then look how rude these people are nowadays, and they think it doesn't matter. If Allah for rudeness and for politeness granted yaqeen, imagine the punishment He's going to give for rude people. That's the scary part, that the evil people, because they were polite, Allah granted them paradises, stations that can't be even imagined how they achieved it. What He's going to do for rude people who come against pious people. But people have no more training and understanding, even the Qur'an is not taught to them correctly. That these ayahs and these dalils, they're in the Qur'an, good manners are taught in the Qur'an. But nobody reads slow enough to understand, oh, the dialogue between magicians and Sayyidina Musa opened this reality. So yeah, how a magician can believe like that? But nobody on earth will believe like that now, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, if every ayah is an independent reality, does this means that the Holy Qur'an has as many realities as the verses of the Holy Qur'an?
They are the Holy Qur'an. The ayahs are the Holy Qur'an, right? In Prophet's time, was there a compiled book? No. They were the verses. Then who compiled this? Is Sayyidina Uthman, Jami al-Qur'an al-Majid as-salam. So the ayahs themselves are the Holy Qur'an, ayatun min ayatullah, these are the signs of Allah. That's why we call ayah is a sign. Each ayah has a sign, it's a sign from Allah's signs. So again, stop and look to the words. So each ayah has a sign within it from Allah. What we call the chapters, we call surah. What is surah? Face. Surat, surah is a face. So these signs, they have 114 faces. So means this is an immense reality, and these are the infinite realities of Holy Qur'an, and each letter has its reality. Each letter has infinite reality on how much it can expand and how much the angels will expand the knowledge to the heart of the servant. Because Allah's words, they're not created. Allah's words have no capacity, no beginning and no end. They are infinite in its understandings, and nothing is finite from Allah. We are finite, we have a beginning and an end, and dunya has a beginning and an end, but Allah's words are infinite in their capacity. How is it even possible? Because Allah describes it as a source that's overflowing. If all the oceans were ink and all the trees turned to pens, these words would never finish. Because Allah's oceans of knowledge has no beginning and no end, That's why these teachings are important for people to understand. One day they thought something, next day something else is coming. And that's why Islam is so supreme, that when these things begin to happen and the aliens come, Dajjals come and all these things come, they're astonished because they're in the dark ages even till today. They thought, oh, we thought this is the only planet has creation. Are you crazy? Billions and billions and billions of planets, Allah has all of them with creation. We thought our knowledge was the top knowledge, your knowledge was the lowest knowledge. How many billions of planets and how many billions of knowledges are upon each of these planets, and how many billions of years they're in existence with these knowledges. And that's why Allah describe upon every knower there's a knower. So people are like very happy, oh everything is based on math. What math? The math you know is base 10 math, that everything is based on units of 10. There's base of all math, there's base 9, base 11, base 12, with their computing system is completely different. The physics we know is only what we know and what we've guessed and had hypothesis. And on this earth everything is a hypothesis, is a guessing. I guess this is like this, two people agree with you and that becomes the situation. 5 years later somebody else will guess something, 5 people will agree with him, becomes a whole new. There's no law. They say the laws of physics, whose law? Who established this law, this word? There is no law. It's only the 5 square-headed people who believed in something, until 5 other people come and say his belief is incorrect. Now we proved it this. There is no law, it's only what they know at the time they know it. Allah holds the law of all knowledges, but we don't have and we don't encompass that reality. But this is the supremacy of Islam, right? So I say about this is the law of this is the law of light, this is the law of physics. No, that's only your law today. But your laws change all the time as you begin to learn and to know things. Islam came to teach us there is no law for these, there is no law of physics. It's only what they think they know and most of the time it's wrong. So Allah's knowledge infinite, our brains finite, has only limited capacity. The heart of the servant can reach infinity because it opens. Once it opens it acknowledges to the head, I know nothing. And that's the whole challenge in life, tell your head you know nothing. If you go to formal education they will indoctrinate your head to think it knows something and then put a lock on it that you learn something. The tariqahs come and teach you learn everything wrong and you know nothing. And whatever you think you learned you unlearn it. Whatever history was told to you it was his story. There's another guy has a different story. So everything is upside down in this dunya, but created by shaitan to keep people in darkness so that they will never know who they are. And Prophet came to emancipate and free people, that who knows himself will know his Lord and he'll reach to the oceans of power inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, this question comes every year. As this beautiful month of Ramadan is approaching, Sayyidi, are shaitans chained in Ramadan?
No. Shaitans in Ramadan, they kill the most people in Ramadan. So how could shaitan be chained in Ramadan? All unbelievers attack and kill Muslims in Ramadan because they say these people are not eating, they will become weak, they don't have food and water, let us go in to destroy them. So how could it be shaitan chained in Ramadan? And so we described many times is, no, your shaitan is chained in Ramadan. As soon as you fast and you make intention to fast, Allah will put a chain upon your shaitan, your qareen that is with you, we described the night before, so that he can stop talking to your nafs. That's why people become generous in Ramadan. As soon as we ask people support, every day we ask people to support and people thinking, oh Shaykh is only asking for support. Do you think the hungry people stop eating because you gave them one hamburger? That the people don't have a need after the next day? No, so it's a continuous process. People are continuously needing support. If they gave you support only one time, what would happen to the next day and the next day and the next day? So it means this life of ours is a continuous khidmat, continuous service, continuous struggle. So what happens in Ramadan? Every other day shaitan comes to you and says, no, don't give, your money's going to go and it's going to finish. This is because they have no belief. How is it going to finish when Allah giving you 1,000 to 1,000,000 times more return? If you put one piece of corn in the ground, what happens? 7 shakh come out, 7 stalks of corns come out. Each corn has 100 seeds in it. From one seed Allah multiplied 700 for corn. So I think we have a higher value than corn value, but we don't believe. But people in Ramadan believe. That's why then Ramadan is the month of immense generosity. Why? Because as soon as they made intention to fast, Allah put a lock on the qarin and distanced the qarin from the nafs. Now it's no longer able to strongly whisper to the nafs. And we said before, the nafs also understands that this servant is going to fast. So like, I'm not going to be able to break their fast. As a result of knowing he's going to fast, he says, at least now because the nafs is very smart, I will work with him to fast. And he'll wake you up for your suhoor because he says, I don't like being hungry. So get yourself up and eat very good so I can have an enjoyable rest of the day. Your nafs actually works for you in Ramadan. Anybody who wants to observe themselves, Ramadan is the time to observe. You'll see how your devil got chained, you became generous. And you'll see how your nafs works for you to wake you up. Even you don't want to wake up, your nafs will say, get up and eat a good suhoor, I'm hungry. And quickly eat the iftar, I'm hungry. This is the nafs is helping. So Ramadan has an immense secret. And these are the gifts that Allah gives to the servants, and they become even stronger and their soul is strong and their dedication is strong. And although other people plan to harm fasting people, Allah has a plan. They plan and Allah's plan is always more supreme. And every time they tried to attack in Ramadan, their attacks were defeated and Allah's support was immense. Remember that Ramadan is an angel called Ramadan that comes and witnesses the servants whom are fasting and can be infinite in number. Allah can multiply these angels in these realities. So it means the servant is in a state of the dressings of malakut, immense dressings, immense blessings upon their soul and their reality. Alhamdulillah, we pray that Allah open that for us in Ramadan and allow us all to enter into Ramadan with sincerity and goodness within our hearts, inshaAllah. But we'll do the Ramadan next weekend before we prepare to entering into Ramadan, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Walaikum salam.
Related to the surahs, if those surahs, faces in Qur'an, are the holy faces that dress servants that know them with tajalli, also are those faces Sayyidina Muhammad's face?
Who else's face could that be? That's what we said, the Qur'an is reading you. So Allah didn't make it very complicated, but people go too fast to understand. So we said, you're reading the Qur'an. So no, the surah is reading you. Face recognition, Facebook. What's the real Facebook? Yes, we call surah. Why they won't make it complicated and translate it to something else? It's 114 faces. The real Facebook is Holy Qur'an. It looks at you and gives you the information you're worthy of receiving. That's why the love of Allah, love of Sayyidina Muhammad, the muraqabah, the contemplation, love of Imam Mahdi salam. Now different ulum are now coming, that the hadith will now begin to validate the Muhammadan haqqaiqs within Holy Qur'an, as was described the nights before. Arafa nafsahu, arafa rabbahu. And the holy hadith and the hadith al-Qudsi, these are immense. Now it sheds a new light because the surah now the face is opening, right? The face of Surah Baqarah begin to open and you begin to look closer. So we look closer to Ayatul Kursi, and this is Allah's not in His creation. But this is too much for people to understand, so we don't make any AIs about that. But Allah's not in His creation. Allah makes a throne for His king to sit upon. Allah sits upon the heart. That's why He clarifies for people who are not thinking correctly, I'm not in heavens and on earth you thinking you're looking for a chair that I'm sitting on. This is not the majesty of Allah. What He would sit on a chair, God forbid, what is the kind of thinking people have? Says, no, creation sits on chairs and thrones and I sit upon their heart, right? So awliya in paradise have big thrones because Prophet sits upon their heart. But the biggest throne is one whom is vigilant over all this gift Allah has given to him, and Allah sits upon his heart. Yes. So these verses and these hadiths begin to explain very deep realities. What's Shahidallahu? Which verse is Shahidallahu? This is in our Salat al-Najat. Junaid, read Shahidallahu, the English. Open up Salat al-Najat in the app. But the translation very bad, we should make our own translations as we go to take out their adding of words. Why Najat? Because you're at the feet of the king in Salatul Najat.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Allah Himself bears witness that there is no God but He, and likewise do the angels and the men possessed of knowledge bear witness in truth and justice that there is no God but He, the Almighty, the All-Wise. The true religion with Allah is Islam.
Yeah, a lot of added words. Shahidallahu la ilaha illa hu. The malaika and the men ulama qa'iman bil qist, they know Allah's authority. So this is a proclamation of Allah's authority. We recite the Arabic Shahid, and then we're going to recite Qul huwa malikul mulk tu'til mulka man tasha'u wa tanzi'ul mulka man tasha'u.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولي العلم قائما بالقسط لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم إن الدين عند الله الإسلام.
So this verse in the Muhammadan seal when you want to give a power, you first establish, I have the power, right? If I'm going to give a power, I first establish, I have the power to give this power. So then Allah is beginning this proclamation of the Muhammadan power and kingdom, that Allah is the authority. And who know this authority are malaika, because they answer to this authority, and ulama qa'iman bil qist. And these men, ulama, not outside ulama, awliya, whom bestowed upon knowledge because they witnessed authority, they're in the presence of the king. So this is the authority that I have the power to do whatever I want. My angels and these ulama know this, these awliya. The next of the seal of the Muhammadan haqqaiq is then the next verse.
قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب.
MashaAllah, Sadaqallahu Azim. Read the English slow, each verse slow, the English.
Say, O Allah, Lord of all dominion, you give dominion to whom you will, and take away dominion from whom you will.
This is a proclamation that Allah described in the first verse we recited in Surah An-Najat, why Najat, that Allah has the power, the angels and the ulama are witness to the power. Now Allah is conveying, whom I give the mulk, whom I give the sovereignty to, nobody can deny it. Anybody who doesn't like the proclamation that Muhammadun Rasulullah is the owner of this reality, who cares? Because who can deny what Allah gives? Nobody can say, no, Allah can't give that. So this verse in the proclamation is describing by Allah, I give the mulk to whomever I want, and I can give it and I can take it, because the supreme authority is in Allah. So this verse that we recite in Surah An-Najat is a part of the reality of that proclamation, and then it's in other words in it are immense, that we bring life out of death so that you're in a state of death, and we bring death out of life. Means these immense realities within these verses. And then the next verse that we recite in Surah Al-Najat is Ayatul Kursi, which then is the proclamation of the power that Allah has given to the one sitting upon the throne, which describes to the servants that, not sleep and slumber overtaketh him. He's never weary of this authority and whatever Allah has given to the soul of Prophet to govern the creation. And none know anything of his knowledge other than what he wants them to know. There's no knowledge that people can take and think they reach to a reality. It's encrypted and locked into the reality of Prophet. Not an angel, not a servant, not another religious person, nobody can take the heavenly knowledges without being dispensed by this king and the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad. And none can intercede for creation without his authority, and his authority comes from Allah. So nobody can say, I will intercede for creation, because he's the king. Allah is declaring, how are you going to decree? Man dalladhi yashfahu, how are you going to intercede? Under whose authority? So this is an immense proclamation that brought into the Divinely world of lights and then brought onto this earth, shattering what? All people who claim that they would be the awliya, they would represent Allah and they would intercede for you. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done was brought with Islam. The Qur'an is a proclamation of the authority of Prophet. The three verses we put together for Salatul Najat and salvation, for what? Because Najat, you're at the feet of Prophet and asking Allah, grant me Najat and salvation from the ghadab and anger of my character. With that anger I can't reach anything. And if Allah grants the Najat, that becomes the reality of understanding. This authority of Prophet upon the arrival of His holy presence upon the earth, it shattered every other understanding. There is no one who can represent you, there is no one who can intercede for you, there is no one who can do anything, there is no knowledge. Man dha alladhi yashfahu la bi'idhni, and none can take of His knowledge except by His permission. So they don't have a knowledge anymore. They say, no, we have a knowledge, your knowledge is locked. As you told Prophet your heart is locked, your ulum and your knowledges are all locked and everything you say is a lie. The only knowledges that are on are by the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad. With that presence upon the earth, it wiped out any representation, anyone claiming to do anything, because nobody can intercede for this creation without the Muhammadan seal of intercession. And that's why his companions and his awliya were given intercession. And that's why the stories of awliya, that they have the permission to intercede from this reality of Prophet. And that's why they would go and say, Mawlana Shah Naqshband with his right eye will feel 4 or 5 paradises of interceding. Man dha alladhi yashfahu, because he has the permission of Sayyidina Muhammad, and this is the king of authority. That's why Ayatul Kursi is so powerful for the nation, because it's the Muhammadan Sultanate. Anyone who recites it, the power of the king encompasses them in every direction, and the power of the king annihilates every false authority, false demon, false evilness. If we understand the knowledge by hearing this tonight, it has even infinite more power, because what you were reciting before you didn't understand its authority. But by the authority vested in me, as soon as we recite it, you're knowing, you're saying that Prophet is the Sultan, and I'm asking from the power of Ayatul Kursi and your sultanate, encompass me with your power and annihilate all my enemies and all the chains they try to put upon me. Because only your sultanate can relieve me, only your intercession can heal me, only your knowledges can illuminate my heart and my reality. So these are immense realities, Surat al-Najat in its haqqaiq and its infinite reality. We said the awrad of the Naqshbandi awrad is from the king of saints. Whatever he was reciting on a nightly basis as he's approaching the presence of Prophet, when he gives to us, now copy and recite, don't change a single word of it, follow exactly how he recited it. Even the mannerisms, go listen to Shaykh Nazim's voice, recite how he recited it, because this is how he presented to Prophet. If you change a word of it, you alter our path, and in 10 years it will be something completely different. The path never changes. This is how he recited it, you listen to how he recited it, you copy it exactly, and then you be dressed by its infinite realities. And then this legacy continues. You're not modified and changed, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Is this the same throne mentioned in the Bible, the emerald throne?
Yeah, exactly. The verse they tell you not to read. They tell you, don't read Book of Revelation. Why do they tell you don't read Book of Revelation? Because it's probably the only book left in there that has the haqqaiqs of Sayyidina Muhammad, where he came upon the green throne and he saw the king sitting upon the throne and the lamb to his side, right? Wasn't Sayyidina Isa the relationship to Prophet. So this was immense, and when John came to the presence he bowed down as if he had reached to God, and they said, don't bow down. They were merely the messengers of Allah. So even in the Revelation, their book of Revelation clarifies that Sayyidina Isa is not God, but they choose to wait for a man, not Isa ibn Maryam, that are going to come onto earth and their God is going to eat and go to the washroom and have physical desires and physical needs to relieve themselves. But we have a God that has nothing to do with that. Allah is of an immense majesty. This is not to the majesty of Allah. So this is a ridiculous time in people's history, that how could you kill your God, then He comes back and He eats and has to use the facilities to wash, and this is somebody you're going to worship? But I worship one whom has no form and can never be killed. So this is the nonsense within the minds of people, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
SubhanAllah Sayyidi, thank you for this deep reality of Ayatul Kursi. Sayyidi, how is Malikal Kandiyas connected to this verse?
The khadim from the dua of Ayatul Kursi, there are servants of these verses, these ayahs. Malikal Kandiyas that Mawlana brought is a khadim and servant of this ayah, and that's why its recitation is a different style of recitation in the dua of Ayatul Kursi, and that's from the jinn world and the authority and the mu'min jinn and the authority that the ayah has of the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad. So everything about Ayatul Kursi is immensely powerful because you're talking about the ayah of the chair of power. Once you've identified, because everything is still the same, that Allah is the power, but you've identified, no, there's a soul sitting on the chair, it's not an empty chair. And definitely never go in the way of saying Allah sitting on a chair, because now you've left Islam. Prophet sits on this chair, Allah sits upon the throne of authority. Then Allah describes the chair, says, I'm the hearing, because when He's sitting on the heart, the Hadith al-Qudsi is describing, I'm His hearing in which He hears, I'm the seeing in which He sees. Because now this official and the reality of Prophet is sitting upon a throne, all from the world of light. And Allah clarifying, I'm the hearing in which He hears. Be careful. To the jinn, to the angels, that this light Allah is clarifying to them, I'm the hearing in which He hears, I'm the seeing in which He sees, and I'm the speaking in which He speaks. That must have been astonishing for them and their ma'rifah, because every time they would hear the voice they never sold the soul in the presence of Nabi Ahmad. And this Hadith al-Qudsi is now giving them the ma'rifah, I'm the speech in which He speaks, I'm the breath in which He breathes. What's God's breath? So on this hadith every aspect is astonishing. What's Allah's breath? Every time you breathe it's within this breath, because the breath of life is from the Divine. How are you breathing? How is anything breathing? How is anything taking any type of life force if it's not from the force of Allah? Allah provides a life force, we know it as a breath. This life force that coming, Allah then says, I'm the breath in which He breathes. Then people must be pretty astonished at that time that Prophet and the arwah and the lights in the world of light, nafas al-rahmah, as his holy soul is breathing, what he's taking in and what he's taking out and pushing out of a life force. Because Allah so, no shirk, this is only for Allah. Allah clarified Hadith al-Qudsi, I'm the breath in which he breathes. But this was not for us here, this was upon the throne to clarify. When that light's upon the throne and Allah opened the vision of who's upon the throne and then began to define, I'm the breath in which he breathes, what that means. How that breath is nourishing all these realities and breathing it out. And Mawlana Shah Naqshband described an inheritance from that. So, I've been given the power of the breath, and when I breathe in all these lights. I purify them within my soul and I exhale all of its imperfections and bring it out purified. That's not something anybody can understand, but that was a gift from that reality of Prophet. Each aspect of that hadith is astonishing. So alhamdulillah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, if Prophet Muhammad is the one sitting on the throne, was Azazil competing with the Prophet and wanting to take that throne to be the Rabb of everything?
Yeah, Azazil thought he was going to be Khalifa. Remember, there's a parda. And anciently Prophet has been created, but nobody witnessed that. It's not like everyone comes and goes at every station. These are high level realities. They don't witness those realities of the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad. This is how Allah created that reality. Then what Allah described, I'm going to create a representative, a Khalifa. As soon as word got out, because the angels they are constant, the jinn are what do we say, flammable. They're not what's the word we use for angels, they're not balanced because they're very flammable, so they're not stable element. When the jinn heard that Allah is going to make a Khalifa, they thought one of them will become the Khalifa. Azazil, whom worshipped so much and all the stories of making sujood everywhere, then gaining many of the angels to listen to his teachings, thinking the whole time, I'm going to do all these things, Allah's raising me and I'm going to be the Khalifa. Then he saw the form of Sayyidina Adam and that Adam is going to be the Khalifa. He became very angered, went through him, clicked on him and said, this is a very weak creation, I can destroy him, he's not something strong. So then the whole hasad and jealousy began to open. So Azazil knew only of the reality of Sayyidina Adam and thought the reality of Sayyidina Adam to represent Allah is a very frail creation, I can enter into him and manipulate him. Why is this going to be the big thing of this creation? He didn't know the reality of Muhammad Rasulullah because he didn't know who he was talking to. Who was he talking to all these times? Who is he making all these different acts of worship? No one saw Allah. They heard from behind the veil this reality of Nabi Ahmad, that I was a Rasul before Adam was between clay and water. Means there's a parda, a veil of Nabi Ahmad that nobody saw, nobody understood its reality. And that when the Khalifa, the physical Khalifa of Sayyidina Adam because Prophet is the Khalifa, but when the physicality of Sayyidina Adam was going to come into existence, then who taught the knowledges to Sayyidina Adam? Alam asma kullaha, who taught the knowledges? And we've talked before in I think Nisf Shaban. Who taught the knowledges to Sayyidina Adam when Allah has a Rasul? So if we don't know the timing, then everything becomes wrong. When Prophet clarified Hadith Jabbar that I was a Rasul before anything of Adam and thing, because the Muhammadan haqqaiq, when La ilaha illallah wanted to be known, it created Muhammadun Rasulullah. Everything is created from Muhammadan's light, Sayyidina Muhammad's light. So Prophet was in existence, then who would teach Sayyidina Adam? Prophet taught from behind the veil. The Muhammadan lights were sent into the reality of Sayyidina Adam, and as a result he was illuminating lights that the angels thought were ilahi, and it began to make sujood. Anytime they would see his light they would make prostration. When they would see it from his forehead they would make prostration, when they saw from back of his head they would make prostration, until they saw it from the thumbnails and they would make prostration. It says, this was the Muhammadan haqqaiq entering into the reality of Sayyidina Adam. And when he presented the reality of Sayyidina Adam to creation, Allah ordered through who? Through the tongue of Sayyidina Muhammad from behind the parda, that bow down to Sayyidina Adam. Angels already knew this is an ilahi light and they immediately went into sujood. Shaitan said, no, why am I going to bow down to him? He didn't have the yaqeen to see the light that coming into him is this ilahi light and the ilahi realities, and said, I will not bow down, because when jealousy comes to you it blocks the haqqaiq. They were jealous of Sayyidina Maryam, and as a result they couldn't see that miraculously she had a child. How old was she when she had a child? 8 to 9 years old. Yeah, of course. The only reason she was allowed in the Jewish temple is because they argued that before puberty she's a boy. So we'll think of her like a little boy in our temple, because women are not allowed in the temple. As soon as she was going to reach the age of menses in which she has her cycle, that was it, they were going to kill Zakaria if she would have that in the temple. So before that event, as soon as that's going to happen, Allah calls her out, she becomes impregnated by the Holy Spirit miraculously. So what the people are saying about ages, she was 8 to 9 years old being pregnant, and the average lifespan was 23, and Alexander conquered the earth at 18. So people again they don't understand time frames, but these are immense realities, inshaAllah. What did that have to do with Sayyidina Isa? About the haqqaiq and the light of Sayyidina Adam and the jealousy of shaitan, not knowing the Muhammadan light, not understanding who taught these knowledges to the reality of Sayyidina Adam, and hasad. That's why we said Sayyidina Maryam is jealousy. When you become jealous you become blind from the miracle. The people of the temple were jealous of her reality. How can we go and we see that food's in her maqam and all night long we pray, nothing happens for us. You walk, she's got food, she's favoured by God. So jealousy in our lives blocks any ability to see a reality. The angels don't have jealousy. So immediately they saw the light, this is the light, bow down. But Azazil had jealousy. With all his worshipness he never rid himself of jealousy. As a result he was blinded to see this is the light. This is an ilahi light. And as a result he said, no, I'm not going to bow down. And that became his destruction and his destiny. We pray that Allah take away jealousy and bad character and grant us the immense love and patience of the way, especially with realities and knowledges, and never to put out knowledges that are too high for people to understand, because the knowledges we want to propagate are the knowledges that bring people and not confuse people. But for people to hear it, alhamdulillah, those are the like treats and bonuses for associations. But not everything said is to be propagated to 20,000 people and confuse people, inshaAllah. We hope that people use their heart to contemplate what are easy for people to understand. Things that are not easy then to refrain until a later time, inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa basiri Surat al-Fatiha. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. Inshallah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.